Another ranked game in the SEC. We have number 10 Vanderbilt beating number 15 Missouri. 17-10 was the final score of that game. Let's go over the highest graded player, starting off with the Vanderbilt Commodores. Highest graded player was defensive tackle Joshua Singh, 76.9. Linebacker Langston Patterson, 76.2. Tight end Eli Stowers, 76.1. Mark Davis, the cornerback, 71.6. Trey Richardson, the wide receiver, 70.3. And Diego Pavia, the quarterback, 53.5. Let's go over the highest graded player, starting with the Missouri Tigers. Linebacker Josiah Trotter, 82.1. Edge rusher Damon Wilson, 78.3. Cornerback Dalen Carnell, 76.1. Keegan Tross, the offensive tackle, 76. Jude James, the tight end, 73.7. And Bo Prabulu suffered, unfortunately, a pretty serious ankle injury. He had a solid 74.6 grade in the loss for Missouri. Dalton, what told the story for you?
I think, when you have games that are tight and defensive like this, they're one on the margins. It can really be, 17-10 this game ends up. And certainly this game was, an inch or two from being tied with the Hail Mary at the end, right? But I think when you look throughout this game at Missouri, they're going to kick themselves a little bit for some missed opportunities, whether it was Prabula or Zollers in there at quarterback. A tripping penalty kind of stalls a drive in the second quarter. Settle for a field goal in Vandy territory. Stop, that Bo Prabula play where he was hurt. It looks like he's out for the season with that leg injury. Stopped at the 2-yard line. Vanderbilt made a goal line stand as Missouri was going in. No points on that drive. They clanked a 29-yard field goal in the third quarter. A fumble near midfield on a punt return for Missouri. And then you talk about the Hail Mary coming up. That Hail Mary almost encapsulated their whole day, where it was just, wow, we were this close to doing this. And look, I thought that Missouri would present a different type of challenge to Vanderbilt with their physicality in the trenches on both sides of the ball. That was the case. Vanderbilt did not, other than MK Young's long touchdown run, Vanderbilt didn't run the ball very well. Pavia didn't have his best day, obviously, in a 17-10 game. But Vanderbilt, in the moments that mattered the most in this game, they came through, and that's huge to set them up because they still have a tough schedule moving forward. But this is a huge win to get over a top 15 team, to grind it out in a defensive fashion like this. I think it's just big for the Commodores when you feel like, okay, I mentioned LSU, the game last week. The last couple weeks, Vanderbilt has really been the better team in the trenches. They've done it again. They're finding ways to grind out wins, and it's not always just flash and glitz and glamour with Diego Pavia. This is still a physical football team that can play in these types of games, and it's really helping them in these close games right now.
Yeah, for anyone wondering, Matt Zollers had a 58.2 grade in the game for Missouri as well, because he did play around 50 snaps in this one too. I'm looking at Vanderbilt's defense, man. 87.1 run defense grade for the Commodores in this one. I said in the preview, they had to focus on stopping Missouri's ground game, and really, with Bo Prabula went down with an injury, they did even more. They did just that, man. Highest run defense grade against a Power 4 opponent for Vanderbilt in the PFF college era. Mizzou only averaged 4.6 yards per carry. 19 defensive stops for Vanderbilt on 35 carries for Missouri in this one. 5 tackles for loss and no gain. And what I love for Vanderbilt in this one, all 3 levels of their defense were fantastic in run support. C.J. Hurd and Randon Fontenette each had 3 stops each, and they both play defensive back for Vanderbilt right now. So, like I said before, with Bo Prabula going down with an injury, Missouri tried to rely on their ground game even more in this one, and Vanderbilt completely shut it down. And just a great job overall by Vanderbilt with their highest run defense grade against a Power 4 opponent in the PFF college era.
No, I think that's a great call. My most impressive guy is Langston Patterson, the middle linebacker. 85.3 run defense grade, 8 total tackles, 3 stops. He was just flying around in the front 7. And look, you're right. When you're playing a team like this with Missouri's offensive line, with Ahmad Hardy breaks 6 tackles. Yeah. But for Ahmad Hardy's standards, that's not very many, all right? He had other games at 10, 12, 13, right, that we thought, man, and he's still, I think, second in the country in missed tackles forced, but the tackling was excellent. The swarming to the football. You mentioned C.J. Hurd. How good was the play to just get into the backfield when they had messed up the read option, and he just found his way. He found the football, and it turned into Vanderbilt's game-winning drive there. I think you're right. It was a team effort, and it starts to me when you have a middle linebacker like Langston Patterson setting the tone behind a defensive line that's playing better than at any point they did last year. That's big time, and that's the first goal against Missouri, no matter who the quarterback is you have to somewhat slow down the run game. 4.6 per carry Missouri is a very good number against that team.
Yeah, they were phenomenal and just really swarming to the football all over for Vanderbilt in this one. I'm going most impressive. I'm going with the head coach, Clark Lee. Just what he's done to that program is unbelievable. Vanderbilt is 7-1 for the first time since 1941. They beat a top 15 team in the country, even with Diego Pavia not having his best day with only a 49 passing grade in that one. Last year, Vanderbilt needed Diego Pavia's magic to win big games, but they weren't enough of a well-rounded team to be a true contender. Now you're seeing it right now. They have a well-rounded team right now. The defense won Vanderbilt this game. Dalton, I can't tell you the last time we could say defense won Vanderbilt in a big game. Honestly.
It's been a long time. I'm not even sure. I'd have to check, but I'm not even sure.
We might have to go back to that 1941 season, honestly.
Seriously. I mean, I'm looking at last year. They beat Auburn last year 17-7, but Auburn was struggling. I mean, this is a huge game to get. No, the way their defense played, because this game was scoreless for a long time. Yep. This was close to the vest. It was physical. It's really, to me, how Missouri probably wanted it. And yet Vanderbilt found a way to win, right? So it could be, and look, to win this type of game, look at their next couple of games against Texas and against Auburn, whose run defense is the best part of their team. These could be defensive games as well. And this experience of grinding this out and even grinding out a close game against a really good defense in LSU last week, this is big time. And now you look at Vanderbilt, and the same goal as a couple of these other teams we've talked about. You got Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee. Can you win 3 out of 4?
Yeah.
You get 3 out of 4, you feel really good about it. You're going to be favored in 2 of those. You might even be favored against Texas, depending on what the books are thinking. And Arch Manning reportedly has a concussion coming out of the end of that game, so who knows if we even see him or if it'll be Matt Caldwell next week. So huge games coming, and if they win 3 out of 4, I think Vandy is going to get there.
And now Vanderbilt, too. So they were ranked number 10 in the country before this game. They're going to be ranked, obviously, higher than number 10 going into next week. They have not been ranked higher than number 10 since 1937. So it is incredible. What Clark Lee is doing to revive that program right now is downright incredible. It's like the SEC version of Kursignetti right now at Indiana.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's where you're at. And with this team, again, last year it was the magic of Pavia and Eli Stowers and the whole New Mexico State thing coming over. This year they got a complete football team. The way their defense played in this game, they can run it. And I'll say it again, too, because there's certain moments it continues to show up every week. The depth they have at receiver and even with pass catchers in general, with tight end and receiver. We didn't see Cole Spence really in this game, but Stowers had a couple of nice catches. Trey Richardson's a big factor with the speed. Junior Sherrill makes plays. I mean, you just have a different level of depth on this Vanderbilt team than you had last year. That's what's making the difference between being a bowl team and a potential playoff team.
So we started the show in the 2023 season. Imagine if I told you, Dalton, in that 2023 season that 2 years later we would have potentially Indiana be the number 1 team in the country going into the playoff, and Vanderbilt as a college football playoff team the same year too.
That's college football.
That's incredible.
It is constantly getting turned upside down, and it continues to do so every single week.
Oh, it's incredible. And then BYU and Houston might be making the playoff
save
too.
For BYU and Houston and Virginia and Georgia Tech being undefeated and everything else we have. This is the fun part of it. If you're a traditional power sitting on your laurels, you're going to have an issue.
What was Vanderbilt's record in 2023? I got to look right now.
I think they were 2-10.
I think they were somewhere. Yeah, they were 2-10. So 2-10 Vanderbilt, 3-9 Indiana in 2023, and then 2 years later, both these programs are easily top 10 teams.
The most important position in college football is your head coach.
It's true.
It's that simple. They run everything, and if they get a team believing, and then they just get, Kurt Signetti's got that team believing with the winning culture he brought with a lot of those guys from JMU, Vanderbilt with Pavia and what they did the year before at New Mexico State. That's all you do. You get a team to believe. And then they start feeling like, okay, we got the momentum going. Then you get more talented guys in there like Vandy got in the portal this year. This is the result of it. Now, Lee's doing just an unbelievable job. And how many different candidates do we have for Coach of the Year?
No, it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable how many you can make a case for like 10 different guys for Coach of the Year right now.
Yeah, the Any Given Saturday doc, if you haven't checked it out yet on Netflix, you absolutely should. It followed a lot of SEC teams last year. And one of them was Vanderbilt. And I remember in that episode, Clark Lee said, there's no reason why Vanderbilt should not be the best program in the country. And I'll admit, I rolled my eyes at that. I was like, all right, sure, Clark. Look what he's doing now. Like that's called changing the culture at that program right now. And he has those kids believing they can go out there and beat anyone. And they could absolutely do that this year.
5-star quarterback in for a visit, right? I know you love that.
Yeah.
I know that's your favorite thing.
Just saying.
You never know.
The number 1 quarterback in the country who's currently committed to Georgia, Jared Curtis, was visiting Vanderbilt.
Just taking a little visit,
I loved
just taking a look around
the
Nashville.
Comedian that was Game Day's guest picker.
No, Nate Bargatze.
Nate Bargatze multiple times on Game Day was shouting out Jared Curtis. It's like, hey kid, come on down to Vanderbilt. Imagine the number one quarterback in the country commits to Vanderbilt.
College football.
That would rule for everyone but Georgia fans, honestly, because obviously he's going to Georgia right now. But man, that would be incredible if they could replace Diego Pavia with the number one quarterback in America. We'll get to that later on if we do a recruiting episode, though. But yeah, huge win for Vanderbilt, and maybe that does help him out in the Jared Curtis recruitment right now. It certainly helps him out in the college football playoff race as well. And Dalton, Missouri, real quick on Missouri, they have 2 losses now. I mean, they need to win out, I would say.
They need to win out, and they're going to have to win out with Matt Zoller as the true freshman as their quarterback. Not that he played terribly in this game. He did everything he possibly could, honestly, when you look at especially the Hail Mary that was caught and fell an inch short. But no, Missouri's all of a sudden in dire straits.
They got A&M after a bye week now.
A&M, Mississippi State, at Oklahoma. I mean, and it changes without Prabula. And I know Prabula wasn't playing great lately, but he's still a veteran who's at least he was their starting quarterback. And then you had already lost Sam Horn earlier in the year to a season-ending injury. So now it's on the true freshman Zollers, and they're going to have to run the football extremely well. They've done that most of the year. They've played really good defense in this game, but it's going to be a tall order even after a bye week to have a true freshman beating Texas A&M in a couple weeks. They pull that off, then maybe we'll see about what happens after that. But that feels like their season on the line in Week 11.
I will say, even though he graded below a 60, I was impressed by Matt Zollers out there. I thought he kept his composure.
It was gutsy.
Yeah,
it was definitely
gutsy.
Yeah, down to the final throw. Really, just came up and in short. It was a gutsy performance, and they're going to need more.
And he's a talented kid.
He
was speaking of recruiting, he was a top 10 quarterback coming out of high school. Actually, he was a guy from Pennsylvania, so he is talented. He's a true freshman. Obviously, he's not a lot of experience, but he's a talented kid. So we'll see what he can do because there is confirmation already that Bo Prabula is out for at least the rest of the regular season.
I'd be shocked.
And how eerie is it that Drew Aller and Bo Prabula like the same injury? 2 Penn State's quarterbacks last year, almost the same injury to both of them this year. It's crazy.
It is a bit odd.
Eerie. Yeah.
That's odd, but I know.
Football,
the future is now in Missouri with Zollers.
Future might be now for Penn State too with Ethan Grunkemeyer too. So you're kind of getting a look at maybe the future quarterback for both programs right now. Premature one, unfortunately, for both programs with those 2 going down. So hopefully both will be looking at healthy soon. But yeah, big win for Vanderbilt though, 17-10 over Missouri.